All right, guys, welcome out. We are in the shop today, luckily, because it's like negative 15 degrees outside. It's cold. It's been cold. I mean, cold across the whole country. I saw videos they have snow in Florida, which is kind of crazy. But behind me, we have our Dammer Diker. So the Dammer Diker is what goes through the fields after the potato planters go through. And last year, one of the guys who was working for us hooked it on a telephone pole and broke the rear shaft that holds the paddles on. So let me show you this. Trevor is currently making a lot of noise. He's this one he's tightening up because it's a little loose.
Need a little lube because they won't turn in any time.
Loosen them up, put some WD on there. Yeah. But this is what happened. So this shaft right here, he hooked the end of it on a power pole, and first it bent it. You can see it's kind of bent. So first he bent it, but after being bent for a little while, we took the outside paddle off, which is actually this one right here that's not actually hooked to anything. We took the paddle off, but it was just bent enough that it snapped this 2-inch shaft right there. So it snapped it. I think the other end is right here. This is an 11-foot long 2-inch shaft, and it just snapped it. So we had to take this whole section off. So on the back of this, we actually only have, there's 3 paddles right there on that side. So we had to take it off and run it without it. We can run it without it as long as there isn't any hills. The main thing, we like to run these on the hills because it helps hold the water in. The water doesn't just run down the hill. So, but we had to get this fixed. So this was the easiest thing to get in here right now, with it being so cold and with everybody being gone. Josh is gone, Christopher's gone. It's just me and Trevor. So we're working on this today, trying to get it back together. We have to take this apart. We have to take all these, have a little squeeze hub on here. So they have this little hub. We have to take the bolts out. We have to pound these off, and the bearings, which actually we shouldn't have to do anything with the bearings because we're not reusing these bearings. We have new bearings. Because over here we have the bearings, and then we have a new shaft. So we have all the new stuff. We just have to take the paddles off of this one, put it on this shaft, and lift it up onto these arms right here and get it bolted on. So that is what we're working on today. Hopefully we can get, I think we can get it done today with 2 of us. It's gonna be a little difficult because each one of these paddle wheels, they're solid steel. They're not tubes. Like this is a solid piece. So they are very, very heavy. So it's gonna take a little bit of work. We do have some, like a little cherry picker, like engine hoist over there. So we're gonna finagle it, but we'll get it in there because these are super heavy. So the plan is we're gonna disassemble these up here in front, and then we're gonna slowly get these each one at a time around to the back, and then we'll put it all together back in the back. So that is the plan. We're gonna start taking all these, unbolting these hubs and getting it off. Okay, we've cleared the area. The push-out bolts don't work anymore, so big sledgehammer is what we got. Just gonna smack on this. See if we can. Slide a little. And that's how you get them off. Give it a little tappy.
Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy.
Trevor's moving this one around. We got this one off. We still have to tap and get this hub off to put on the new shaft, but yeah, we're gonna put new bearings on. But these things are just really heavy and awkward. There's no like great way to move them. Okay, we got it. We got all the stuff off. They come off pretty easy, just smacking them with a hammer off those hubs. Here's one of the hubs. But got them all leaned up. Now we got to roll them all back to the back. And the one thing we're still waiting for is one of these hubs. So they didn't have one. And we lost one. There's one somewhere out in the snow. So we're missing a hub somewhere. I'm sure we have it. It's just outside in the snow somewhere. We don't know where. So they had to order one. And it should be in tomorrow. So we're gonna try and get this as much together as we can, and then we'll just have one end paddle to put on with that hub. So we're gonna get moving all these pieces from the front back here to the back, and then we'll start putting it all together. We got these moved back here. So stacked them all up. Now we're gonna get this. He got one hub on there. Everything slides on pretty easy because it's new. It's not an old rusty dented shaft. So we got one hub on there. We got to put two hubs in the middle, and then because there'll be two paddles right here, so we got to put two hubs in the middle and then a bearing on each side, and then we're gonna lift it up and bolt it on, and then put the outside ones on. But we're still waiting for that one hub, so one of them will have to just wait. But we're gonna see what we can get done here. Shouldn't take too long to do. Okay, we got it on. Trevor is cutting because we noticed that there's a ring lock that goes on this bearing, but there's not enough room right here for the ring lock to slide on, because the bearings that they put on here now are different from the ones that are original. The original ones, they have plenty of room. These are different bearing. It's like the same bearing, the block is a little bit different. So there just isn't quite enough room right there. So you just have to cut just a little bit off of that right there, so that ring lock will slide on because it's hitting. Just hits, I mean, 1/8 inch, and that would be fine, but just hits just a little bit. So Trevor's cutting that off, and then we're gonna put these other two paddles on. We got the lock rings locked on. Now we're trying to line up. We have to line up this hub with that shank up there and get them perfectly in line. We'll get these two lined up and on, and then there's 4 bolts that go in there. And then we can put one, either the outside one or this inside one on, because we have a hub, but we're missing the other hub. So I'll put you back on time lapse and let you watch us. Okay, we got the one on. Got it all cinched down nice and tight, and it lines up with that shank in the front. So we're gonna get this other one on, and then we actually have to go check some cellars that we turn the humidity off. We need to go see if they are too wet, or if they're still wet, or if they're dry. So we gotta go check them. Make sure, we don't want them to get dry, but we also don't want them wet. So there's a fine line between too wet and too dry with potato cellar.
Somewhere right there for my close spot.
Yeah, it looks pretty close. Okay, so we gotta shut the cellar off. I mean, temperature temperature's good. 45, that's where we want it. But we have the humidity and the refrigeration off. Or not refrigeration, humidity, climate cell. We don't use refrigeration. This cellar doesn't even have it. So let me make sure all the lights are on. And we'll go walk down and see what we got here. There's no lights in this room. Trevor went on the other side. I'll walk down here. It's a very dark tunnel. There's not very many lights. There's only 3 lights in this whole air tunnel. So I'll just jump you to the top of the pile because you probably can't see a whole lot. Okay. Hey, that doesn't look too bad. The ceiling is still a little bit wet. As you can see, it's a little, glistens a little. If I shine my light up there. It's a little bit of water up there. Not a ton. But also, the potatoes look a lot better. They're still a little wet. But for the most part, they are drying up a little bit. We were thinking we might have to turn it back on, but honestly, I think I'm gonna leave it off till next week. We'll let it run over the weekend and see if we can't dry these up a little bit more. Come on. There we go. So we're just gonna leave it as is. Because we don't want the potatoes to get wet. Granted, it takes the potatoes being wet and also heat to rot them really bad. But I'm gonna have to work on this door. But the wet will rot them. But if they got wet and hot, then they would rot even faster. But we do need to dry up the top. We don't like them to get hot or to get wet. That we can put some heaters. So those red heaters that are in all of our other cellars, we have thought that we might get those heaters and run a cord down the air tunnel and then put heaters in the back to help dry up if we could just dry up the roof, the ceiling, that would definitely help. But we really need to get the top dried up or else they're gonna start to rot down the road. So moisture, them being wet, is not good. You want them to have a little bit of moisture or else they'll shrink. But you also don't want them to be so wet that they start to rot. Okay, well, I just got back. Trevor had to go, but, well, because Trevor had to go and also because we don't have all the parts, we can't finish this thing. So we have some parts that are supposed to be in one more of these hubs. We have this hub that's good, but there's a bolt broke off right there, so we need to get that bolt out. But because we're gonna be finishing this up tomorrow, and we have to use the loader to get it out of here with the big pallet forks that we have, I'm going to go and get the loader and bring it up here to the front of the shop because it's supposed to get down to like -5 or 10 tonight. And at that temperature, the loader won't start. So I'm gonna bring the loader up here in front of the shop and plug it in. So it'll actually start when we need it to work tomorrow. Let's go get the loader. Start right there. It's cold. It is cold out here, if you can't tell. Get this driven up here to the shop. Gotta get it close enough so we can plug it in. Got it. It took me forever just to find an extension cord to plug in the loader, because probably in the last 5 years we've slowly transitioned away from like plug-in electric like drills and grinders and stuff to pretty much everything we use is battery powered. So we don't use much air tools. We don't use much plug-in electric tools. Most of our stuff is battery powered. So our cords have just slowly disappeared. So it took me a little while just to find a cord just to plug that in. So now I'm just gonna snap you guys to tomorrow and we'll finish this up and get it out of here. So, all right, we're back. Josh is here today. We're gonna run down to Spudnik and we're gonna get the parts that we need. Okay, we just got out here to Spudnik. We're gonna go in here and get the parts that we need. Well, we got done at Spudnik and now we're here at Double M. We got to get a few things. We need some key stock that they didn't have at Spudnik. So we're gonna go in here. All right, we're back at the shop now. We have all of our bolts and our hubs and all of our stuff we need. So we're gonna get the end one on that side and the end one on this side put on, and hopefully get this pulled out of the shop today. Okay, all the paddles are on there and it looks pretty good. It's actually better than it was before it broke.
It's better than new.
Because before it broke, two of these, they weren't lined up with the other two, so they were all just a little bit off center. So when this thing would spin, it would rock back and forth like this. So now they're all lined up and they're lined up on that side. So it should be a lot smoother going through the field as they turn. So we got them on. These are all nice and tight. So that's done, everything's done except for some of these are loose. So we did get a bunch of new bolts over there. They're these Allen bolts that are like recessed in. So some of them are loose. We're just gonna replace a few of the bolts. They won't come out, so we are gonna have to torch them off, but we're just gonna replace a few of these bolts and then we should be able to pull it out of the shop. And we can get something else in here and start working on something else. Got it. Now we can just put new bolts in, should be good to go. All right, we got these all the ones that were loose, we got fixed. So this thing, I think, other than we didn't put grease zerks in these bearings, I'm gonna do that when I actually get this hooked up to the tractor this spring and service it. So we didn't do that. So I think this thing's ready to go. We just need to, after lunch, we will pull it out of here with the loader with forks on it. Okay, so getting this. We got to go get the other forks put on here, the big pallet forks, and get the Dammer Diker out of the shop. But you guys are on a head mount, so you'll be able to see everything. Just have to unhook these hay forks. Let's put them right here. And then go hook up to the pallet forks. Alright, let's see if I can get hooked onto these. Like it's on. Oh, this thing is heavy. I don't want to lift it too far off the ground because if it falls, I don't want it to fall very far. But looks like I do have it. It's hard to pull stuff out with an articulated machine. Alright. I'm out. I just have to make sure not to hit anybody's trucks. I'll see you back at the back. We're almost there. Just goes right here. Not fall off the front of the not fall off. Oh, hitting something. I think there might be something there. I'm off. A little sketchy when I can't see the front of my forks, but there it is. Parked and ready to go. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video of us fixing the Dammer Diker. We have a lot more stuff to fix, a lot more stuff to work on, so if you like these type of videos, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.